In this episode, I'm going to be highlighting 22 jobs and individuals that do not need a work permit or a work visa to carry out their work or businesses while visiting Canada. So if you are an immigrant or someone who is traveling from your country, maybe from the Philippines, maybe from Germany, maybe from Zimbabwe, South Africa, Nigeria, and you're traveling to Canada, if you fall under any of these 22 professionals, you do not need a work permit to work while in Canada, okay? Do you want to know these 22 jobs or individuals that fall under these 22 professional categories? Then why don't you hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna dash off to the market and I'm gonna be right back with more.
You know the way I do it when I drop lyrical. Anytime I spit lyrical, philosophical. All the niggas mimical, but they stare still on taking literal. Punchlines collateral. Maximum damage.
Hello YouTube, hello Chronics, how are you all doing today? It's still your value-based king, Fuse from FuseChronicles.com. We are a travel, tourism, and lifestyle channel here on YouTube, bringing you all the tips and hacks for your international travel. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you are simply on a long thing. So go down, smash the subscribe button, click the bell icon, which keeps you notified when we drop future videos. Okay, and if you have friends, family members who are always traveling or planning their next travel around the world, why don't you think about sharing this video with them? And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up because it helps us a lot with the YouTube algorithm. It tells Mr. YouTube that you found our videos valuable. They're going to find more people all around the world to show these videos to, okay? And follow us on our socials. We're active on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, we have 22 positions and jobs to talk about in this video, which is rather long. So without any more further ado, let's jump right in. So the first job that you don't need a work permit for while in Canada is as a business visitor. So you go into Canada as a business visitor. Now, this means that you work for an employer or a company that has business with another company or another employer in Canada, and you were sent to represent the interests of your employer or your company to finalize some business transaction, agreement, or whatever. You do not need a work visa or a work permit while you are in Canada. Your status has been recognized by the immigration services in Canada, so you don't even need a work permit at all. Number 2, foreign representatives and their family members. So foreign representatives and their family members do not need a work permit to carry out work while in Canada. Now, people that fall under these categories are usually diplomats, people who work in the diplomatic community, meaning ambassadors, commercial attaches, consular attaches, because they represent a different country's interest while in Canada. And this status covers their family members as well, so they can actually get work without a work permit while in Canada. So if you are maybe the son, the daughter, or maybe the cousin of an ambassador, a commercial attaché, a consular attaché, maybe sent by the government of Argentina or sent by the government of France or Nigeria or any other country, and you are in Canada, you don't need a work visa to get work or do anything commercial while in Canada. You only need documentation, and this also covers the first professional position I talked about, which is the business visitor. You only need documentation that shows that you're here on business or to finish a business transaction. You need an invitation letter. You just need proper documentation that can identify you when you go to get jobs or you go to meet your counterpart to finish a transaction while in Canada. Number 3. Military personnel. Okay, so military personnel do not need a work permit while in Canada. This is because they are represented or they were sent by their country to Canada. Maybe there is a conflict in Canada, maybe there is some form of military presence in Canada, and this is an agreement on the international stage, maybe by the UN, maybe by some international security meeting agreement and all that kind of stuff. And your country is sending military personnel to this country, meaning this country here, meaning Canada. Military personnel do not need a work permit when they are in Canada on behalf of their country, having reached an agreement with the Canadian government. So these people are covered. They can operate in Canada without a work permit. Number 4. Foreign government officers. Now, usually the Canadian government might get into an agreement with another country whereby certain professional individuals working in the government of the other country is allowed to send officials into Canada to work in ministries, agencies affiliated with the Canadian government. So these foreign dignitaries or officers do not require a work permit while operating in a professional capacity in Canada. Number 5. On-campus work. So you might be a student studying in a university in Canada and you want to work on campus. This happens all the time. You could want to work in the international student office. You might want to work in the student union. You might want to work in a pub on campus, or even in a club on campus, or in the library. You might want to take a teacher's assistant position in your faculty or your department. You do not need a work permit to work on campus if you are an international student. Number 6, performing artists. Now, people or professionals that fall under this category are DJs, musicians, actors, actress or actresses. These people do not need a work permit when entering Canada, particularly if they have a musical concert for a musician, if they have or are shooting a movie in Canada, or they have some creative endeavor while in Canada. They do not need a work permit. However, artists who are visiting Canada to attend a workshop, this status, meaning operating in Canada without a work permit, only covers them for 5 days or less. So maybe you are a musician, a performing artist, maybe you are someone who plays instruments, maybe you are an actor or an actress, but you are not in Canada to shoot a movie, to perform in a musical concert. You're just there for a symposium, to attend a workshop. You can only operate in Canada without a work permit for a period of 5 days or less. Like I said, for the previous categories or previous professions, you have to have documentations that can identify you as a performing artist. Number 7, athletes and team members. So athletes and team members do not need a work permit to take part in different sporting activities while in Canada. Now, there's a caveat to this. There need to be an ongoing sporting tournament or competition that you are participating in while in Canada. So you can't just come into Canada and say, oh, I want to visit the city of Quebec, or I want to go to Toronto, I want to go to different cities in Canada just because I just want to enjoy the sights and enjoy the scenery. You must be working. There must be some active competition that you are taking part in while in Canada. And as an addendum to this, wives or girlfriends of these athletes or their team members are not eligible to work in Canada without a work permit. So this only covers athletes and their team members. Number 8, news reporters and your crew members. So news reporters who are in Canada to cover events, who are in Canada to cover natural disasters, who are in Canada to cover things that are ongoing, do not require work permit to operate while in Canada. Now, for crew members, not all crew members are covered under this particular rule. So technical crew members like camera operators and all those other kind of people are required to get a work permit. However, crew members that are closely attached to news reporters, journalists, online news platforms are exempt and do not need a work permit to work in Canada. Number 9, public speakers. Now, public speakers range from seminal leaders, activists, motivational speakers who are traveling to Canada to speak in an event. Okay, these people do not require a work permit to operate while in Canada. However, a work speaker is only covered by this rule for a period of 5 days. So if a public speaker is in Canada to deliver a talk or to take part in a public event, maybe to deliver a talk or a speech or whatever, he can only do this for a period of 5 days while in Canada. So if this event is going to last for 2 weeks or for 10 days or for a month, he will need to apply for a work permit while in Canada. So this is the exception to this rule for public speakers. Number 10. Convention organizers. So you might be traveling to Canada to organize a convention, or you might be going on a convention to Canada. Now, if you are an organizer of this convention, you do not need a work permit to operate while in Canada. This covers individuals, committees and support staff who are organizing and putting this convention together. Now, the type of conventions that is actually covered under this rule are association meetings, corporate meetings, trade shows and exhibitions, and consumer shows and exhibitions. So these are the type of conventions that are covered under this particular profession. So people or organizers that fall under these categories, these 4 categories, do not need a work permit to operate while in Canada. However, there are certain professionals that work closely with these organizers, like people who are in charge of the audio, people who are in charge of the camera for these conventions, people who are in charge of certain things like audio technicians, sound engineers, visual cameramen are not exempt. They need to get a work permit before they operate, even though they work closely with the convention organizers. This category of people are exempt. They need a work permit to operate while in Canada. Number 11, clergy people, or a clergyman or a clergywoman. Now, people that fall under this category are people who preach certain religious doctrines. Now, it could be Christianity, it could be Islam religion, it could be Buddhism, it could be whatever it is, as long as it's a religious movement and you're preaching religious doctrination in some way, shape, or form, you do not need a work permit. Now, this is very interesting. This particular profession is interesting because it covers both immigrants who are traveling from their country to Canada and immigrants who are already in Canada. You don't need a work permit to preach. You don't need a work permit to carry out your services or carry out whatever it is you do when you teach these doctrines to people. Now, for people who work closely with the clergy, I'm talking about, say for example, you are a Catholic and you are maybe an altar boy, a mass server, or whatever, you work closely with a priest. You need a work permit to work with these clergy people. Okay, you need a work permit to work with these clergy people. And if you are a clergy or you belong to this circle of the religious, you need documentation that is going to prove to the immigration services that you are genuinely a member of the clergy. If you were a pastor, if you were a priest, if you were an imam, if you are someone who is a professional clergy person but specializing in the Buddhist religion, you need documentation that you're going to present to the immigration services. And even when you present this documentation, they could still require further documentation just so that they can as properly ascertain that you are who you indeed say you are. But these people are not entitled to apply for a work permit while working or carrying out their vocation in Canada. Number 12. Judges, referees, and similar officials. Now, these are sporting umpires, okay? These are sporting umpires who are traveling to Canada to preside over a particular sport. There are exceptions, okay? There are fine exceptions that have to be obeyed for you to be eligible to work in Canada without a work permit if you are going under this professional category. Number one, it must be a sporting activity that is hosted by an international body. Say for example, in football, maybe it's a UEFA competition or a FIFA World Cup, but it's being hosted in Canada. And maybe you are a referee for one or some of the games, or in tennis you will judge, or in badminton you will judge, or some form of officiation. That's why it's judges, referees, and similar officials. So you could fall into the category of similar officials, but you are going to preside and be a decision maker in one or two of these sporting activities. You do not need a work permit while operating in Canada. Now, this sporting activity could actually be taking place for a period of 1 year, for 2 years, as long as you are here in this kind of official capacity. You do not need a work permit at all to operate in Canada. Number 13, examiners and evaluators. These are professional academics. These are people that work in the academic community, either as professors or researchers who are traveling into Canada for the sole purpose of reviewing the work and thesis of their students. Okay, so it could be that maybe I was studying in the University of Northampton and I transferred some of my credit to the University of Toronto. And my supervisor for my thesis in the University of Northampton is traveling to Canada, visiting the University of Toronto just for the sole purpose of reviewing my thesis. Now, this professional academics, I don't know why I keep calling them professional academics. Academics are professionals. So I'm so sorry, please. Just let's get back in. So this academics do not need a work visa to travel to Canada to conduct this work. It could be that in conducting this work, it's going to be extended. Now, what this means is you could have over 100 students, you could have maybe even 1,000 students to review the work, check out their thesis. As long as you are in Canada in a professional capacity, you do not need a work permit to operate while in the country. Number 15, healthcare students. Foreign students studying in foreign universities. Now, in this case, studying in universities in Canada can work in clinical clerkship or in some practical capacity in Canada. Okay, so if you're foreign students and you're studying in a university, any university in Canada, you can work in what is known as a clinical clerkship or in a professional capacity while in Canada without a work visa. However, you have to fall under certain majors for this free work permit status to be applicable to you. One of such fields that you have to be studying to be eligible to work without a work permit is in the field of medicine. So you must be in a university studying medicine, occupational and physical therapy. So maybe your major is occupational and physical therapy. You don't need a work permit to become a clinical clerk or to work in a practical capacity in a hospital. You must be studying nursing. So either medicine, occupational or physical therapy, or nursing. You can actually work in a clinic as a clerk or in some practical capacity in a clinic. You could also be studying medical technology. These four majors or these four fields are covered under this status. If you are a student in any one of these four majors, you can either work as a clinical clerk or you can work in a hospital without having to be bothered of securing a work permit. However, to secure these positions while studying in universities in Canada, you need to get express permission from the provincial body that regulates these fields in Canada. So for example, if you are studying medicine, you need to get express permission or written permission from the regulatory body or institute that regulates the activities of doctors. If you're studying nursing, the same applies to you. If you're studying occupational and physical therapy and medical technology, you need to get express written permission from the institute or association or body that regulates the activities of these professionals before you can start to work without a work permit. Medical students studying medicine or traveling from their country to go to Canada to study medicine in universities in Canada. If you're traveling to Canada to study in a university located in Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, these four provinces in Canada, you do not need any written or any form of permission from anybody or any association, regulation body or whatever to start to work in a clinic as a clerk or in some professional capacity. You are free to move on as long as you are studying in universities in these four areas in Canada, in these four districts, provinces or counties in Canada. You don't need a permission. You're actually covered and you don't need to get a work permit or permission before you can start to work in a healthcare facility while in Canada. Experts, witnesses, and investigators. Now, if you're traveling to Canada to collect evidence, to carry out a review or a survey that is going to be presented before a regulatory body, either in Canada or in your home country, you do not need a work permit. Maybe you're traveling to Canada because maybe there was a murder, maybe there was a homicide, maybe something happened, maybe someone misappropriated funds, and you have evidence to present before a tribunal, before a court of law, or before some professional regulatory body. You don't need, or you're not mandated to get a work permit to get into Canada. And this could stretch for a period or an extended period. While you're in Canada, under this professional capacity, you don't need a work permit at all. Number 16, I think I'm confusing it somewhere, but the next one, number 16. Civil aviation inspectors. Whether you're a flight inspector, a cabin safety inspector who is entering Canada on a temporary basis, you do not need a work permit because it is assumed that these people are entering Canada to carry out a professional work, a professional job, or to acting on a professional capacity while in Canada. And more to this, they're not just acting on a professional capacity, they're working or acting on a professional capacity towards ensuring safety of lives, okay? So you're working in Canada, inspecting the cabin to make sure everything, all the safety protocols are being adhered to. You're checking the flight manifest, you're checking everything about the plane to make sure that when this flight takes off, the people or passengers who are going to be on board this flight are going to arrive the destination safe. These people do not need a work permit. However, this is temporary. This is not infinite. This is not forever. So it's going to be a period in which you're going to be in Canada for. After the period, if you extend beyond the period, then you would have to apply for a work permit to carry out your duties while in Canada. Number 17. Aviation Accident and Incident Inspector. Now, these are accredited professionals who have been invited by the Canadian government to come into Canada because there's been maybe an aviation accident or some form of incident in the aviation sector. And these people are coming with their professional experience, background, to troubleshoot what might have happened. So maybe there was a plane crash in Alberta or in Quebec, and these people are coming in to analyze the black box to know what might have gone on in this plane to have made it to crash. These people do not need a work permit while working professionally in Canada. They're exempt. Number 18. Crew. Now, people that fall under this professional category known as crew are people, crew members that work with all forms of transportation, whether it be rail, whether it is ship, whether it is air transport services, meaning plane, cars, buses, toll buses. People, crew members that work on these forms of transportation are exempt from applying or securing a work permit while working in Canada. However, you need to be working for a transportation company of foreign origin. So it must not be a transportation company registered in Canada. So for example, you could be working for Virgin. Virgin is a company owned by someone from the UK. It's a company registered in the UK. Yes, Virgin, certain subsidiaries of Virgins are also registered in Canada and in the US. But if you're going to meet the criteria of working without a work permit, you must be working for a subsidiary of Virgin that is not registered in Canada. You must be working for a subsidiary of Blue Jet or EasyJet that is not registered in Canada to be covered under this particular rule. So if you're working for a Canadian transport company as a crew member and traveling from maybe Lithuania to Canada or from Rwanda to Canada, you have to apply for a work visa to carry out your professional operations while in Canada. Number 19, emergency service providers. Now, these are people that come to Canada to render their services in times of emergency. So with most countries exiting the pandemic period when we had COVID. So you remember that there were people professionals, doctors and nurses, who were being granted, in the US for example, they're being granted H1A visas, and even in China and some other countries there were some special immigration categories that were being originated or started, whereby healthcare professionals were being fast-tracked to come to these countries to offer their professional services during these periods of emergency. Now, people who are coming into Canada under this emergency service provision rule do not need to apply for a work permit, okay? Now, there are certain professional categories that are covered under this particular profession, okay? So people who are doctors, people who belong to a medical team, people who are appraisers. Now, appraisers are people who are going to Canada or going to a particular location to check out the magnitude of a pandemic, the magnitude of a disaster, how bad is it or how minor is it. They're known as appraisers. Provincial licensed insurance adjusters. Now, these are insurance people who represent insurance companies that are traveling to an area that's been hit with disaster just for the purpose of knowing the amount or level of settlement that they will have to issue out to people that have taken out insurance premium with their companies. So these four professions, or these people belonging to these four professional categories, are exempt from applying for a work permit under the emergency service provision category. Number 20, implied status. People who fall under the implied status category are people, immigrants or foreigners, who are already working in Canada, have already applied for a work permit, have gotten issued your work permit. However, your work permit is about to expire and they have applied for a renewal. Okay, they've applied for renewal of an existing work permit. They can carry on working in Canada while their work permit renewal application is being processed. So you're not going to be stopped, you're not going to be penalized if your work permit has expired and is being processed for renewal. You're not going to be penalized. However, if your application for renewal is declined, then you would have to exit Canada. You would have to leave the country and go back to your home country to reapply for a visa under different visa status or category. In my last video, I talked about all the visa types, all the visa categories that you could use to get into Canada. So if you're looking to know, maybe my work permit application, my work permit renewal, the application for renewal was declined. Fuse, what can I do? Maybe you want to refer to the last video we did, which is going to pop up somewhere, I don't know, up there, and you can learn about all the visa classes and categories that you could apply for to get or gain access back to Canada. Number 21, off-campus work. So students, foreign students who are studying in Canadian universities are allowed to work for up to 20 hours per week in Canada during semester periods, and can even be let to work full-time during summer vacation or winter vacation. Now, if you are a foreign student studying in universities in Canada, you need to have a valid study permit, okay? You must be a student enrolled full-time in your university. Now, part-time students can also work as or work without a work permit. However, you will need to go to your international student office or center to find out how this rule affects you as a part-time student, but full-time students are eligible to get off-campus work and do not need to apply for a work permit to work while in Canada. Students enrolled in post-secondary school programs, vocational programs, or any professional training program are eligible to get off-campus work and do not need to apply for a work permit while doing so. As long as you're a student, a foreign student in Canada, and you continue to meet or adhere to the terms and conditions of your student's permit or your student study permit, you shouldn't have a problem at all securing off-campus work without a work permit. But if you are constantly in violation, and being in violation means you're supposed to work for 20 hours per week while your semester is in session, but you may be violated by maybe even 30 minutes. So you work for 20 hours, 30 minutes per week, or 21 hours. It means you're in violation of your student study permit, and because of this, you would have to apply for a work permit if you want to get off-campus work. Now, number 22, farm work. Farm work is for foreigners or immigrants who have traveled to Canada or plan to travel to Canada for something else. So maybe you traveled as a tourist, maybe you traveled as a student, and you have a family member or a friend's family member, and you volunteer to work in their farm. You do not need to secure or apply for a work permit to get this done. You can do it without applying for a work permit as long as the person or owner of this farm is the one that infuses all the capital into the farm, number one, does all the hiring, number two, and the farm is not for profit. The farm is not for profit. Maybe he's running the farm just to feed his family. These are criteria that need to be met for you to work without a work permit in a farm, okay? So guys, let me know down in the comment section below which of this work or category of work or professions that applies to you. Maybe you want to let me know what you do so I could even make more customized videos for you that's going to help you know how to make key decisions or places to go to if you need help while in Canada. And if this video was helpful to you guys, why don't you think about going down and smashing the subscribe button, click the bell icon so you stay notified when we drop new videos in the future. And if it was valuable to you in some way, shape or form, why don't you think about giving us a thumbs up? It helps us a lot with Mr. YouTube. It tells them that you found this video valuable. They're going to find more people just like yourself to show this video to. And giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel is all free of charge. You don't need to pay any money to click those buttons, okay? And maybe you're wondering, Fuse, I want to get close to you. How can I send you messages? I have inquiries. Maybe I don't understand this or that about your content. You can reach out to me via all our social media handles, okay? I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter handles are the same. It's up there at Fuse Chronicles. And maybe you might have family or friends who have traveled to Canada or plan to travel to Canada, and maybe they're in a fix, maybe they've been applying for a work permit for a long time and have not gotten it, and you're wondering, how can I help them? Well, you can share this video with them so that they stay guided on the professions they can work in and they don't need a work permit to do so, okay? So, don't forget, like I always say, happiness is a choice. You owe it to yourself to be happy. It's not the place of your family members or your friends to make you happy. It's your place to make yourself happy. So choose to be happy today. If you want to know more on how to change a visitor's visa to a work visa while visiting Canada, or you want to know about all the visa types and visa categories that you can apply for, or even the visa category that you could change to get your permanent residency while in Canada, 2 videos are going to appear, so you can click either one of them to go to the required content that you want to know about, okay? And until the next one, I remain your boy Fuse. Bye bye for now.